Star Wars: The Book of Boba Fett takes us fans back to a galaxy far, far. Actually, it just takes us back to Tatooine. I don't understand how everyone here who wears more than one layer doesn't complain about their swamp ass. The characters of Dune thought they had it bad. Hold my beer, said crusty-skinned Boba Fett, baking under the two suns. We're about to dive deep into spoilers for the premiere episode of The Book of Boba Fett, so if you haven't seen the episode yet, click off now, go watch another video, because we're about to get our beak wet. Well, it's Tatooine, so we're about to get sand under our nails. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hez Project. I'm John Rodolaza, and as you heard in the beginning, yes, the Book of Boba Fett's here. It's another Star Wars property, finally, after a very, very lackluster 2020. I mean, yeah, we did get the Bad Batch, but I didn't even finish the Bad Batch, honestly. It wasn't exactly the Bad Batch's fault, though it wasn't really engaging me as much as I wanted it to. I kind of put that blame on Superman and Lois. That was just kind of dragging me down, and it ultimately just made me drag down on the Bad Batch. But here we are, we got the next live-action project from Lucasfilm in the Star Wars universe, and it's following the character of Boba Fett, played by Tamora Morrison, his first appearance as the character of Boba Fett in The Mandalorian Season 2, an amazing part that he played in that season, but now we're focusing on him after the events of Season 2's Mandalorian, and pardon my language, but about to get real. Honestly, the hype for the show wasn't there for me. I was kind of just feeling lackluster about it. I did the trailer reaction or two that I did, and yeah, they're really cool, and the guy who directed Boba Fett's first episode in Mando Season 2 is directing, I think, this whole series, so I'm all for that. Robert Rodriguez, I think his name is. He did a phenomenal job in that episode, and if we get that vibe for the whole 7 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, I'm all there for it. The episode opens up with Boba in this healing chamber, and he's kind of squirming a little bit, and then it cuts to these flashbacks that he's having. He's remembering when his father, Jango Fett's head was cut off by Mace Windu, and he's having that moment as a kid, that same shot from Attack of the Clones where he's just like leaning against the helmet. Really nice. I love that we're tying things back to the prequels. But then it cuts back to Boba, fully armored. It looks like his classic suit, and he's like in this slimy environment. It's the Sarlacc pit. So he wakes up and he's squirming along the guts of the Sarlacc, and he sees a stormtrooper. He takes the air out of it so he can apply it to his own mask so he can breathe. And then he sticks his hand through the guts of the Sarlacc and starts using his flamethrower. And then it just cuts back to him getting out of the sand, like digging himself out. And that was, to be honest, a little anticlimactic, because when you're on the internet and you're on Google's, you see all the fan art. Everyone, you've seen this fan art, guys. We've all seen the shot of Boba Fett shooting out of a live Sarlacc with his jetpack, shooting back at it with missiles. Like, that's epic right there. And we don't necessarily get that. It's kind of just implied that he killed the Sarlacc. I would like to believe they wanted to do something like that. They wanted to recreate that fan art, but maybe it was just not in their budget, because that sounds like kind of a, expensive thing to do. Oh, but they could have done it. The beginning and the end of the episode do kind of focus heavily on Boba Fett's past, specifically right when he escapes the Sarlacc, right since we last saw him in Return of the Jedi. And the Jawas come by, they ravage all of his armor. That's how they get in. That's how Mando ends up seeing it in Season 2. No. Mando actually saw the armor on Cobb Vanth first. Cobb Vanth was kidnapped by the Jawas and saw it in their little ship. That's what happened. The flashback stuff in the Book of Boba Fett works so well. I did not expect that to work so well. I kind of had an inkling that they were going to do some flashback stuff, because it's Boba Fett and everyone wants to know. Like, he's this highly revered character from the original trilogy that did absolutely nothing in the original trilogy, to be honest. He was this man of mystery that everyone put this lore on. And of course, the books and other Star Wars legend stuff did add more stuff to the character of Boba Fett. As one of the most mysteriously dope characters in a fantasy franchise, you can see where that image of him shooting out of a live Sarlacc comes from. Like, that's what people thought of when they didn't give us enough. While they didn't give us that exact shot, they did give us so much context within these flashbacks. They were my favorite parts of the episode. After Boba takes over Jabba's palace in the end credit scene of Season 2 of Mando, and then in the trailer he says, "I intend to rule with respect," I wanted to know what that meant. And in these flashbacks, in just this first episode, they encapsulate what he means by that. One of the sand people take him and this other creature that looks like it's the same species of Greedo, just a different color. They take both of them out to the desert to dig for these little onion-looking things that carry water. And we've seen them drink it in the Mando season 2, I believe. And I didn't know they carried water. I thought there was just this nasty little thing. Anyways, he makes the 2 prisoners, including Boba, dig up for these. And the other Greedo-looking thing finds this arm. This very monstrous-looking arm. And then a creature just pops out. It is this Gordo-looking mother with 8 limbs, and it's a very entertaining little action scene. Dude, everything about these flashbacks feel like that they were written on stone. Like, it just feels like this epic tale that leads to Boba ruling. Like, it feels that way, and I feel like Robert Rodriguez really captured that feeling. Boba Fett actually came out on top fighting the 8-limbed creature and saved the sand person that was kind of treating him like crap. And then he brings him back. The sand person is all happy. They bring back the trinket, which is the head of the creature, and they're all celebrating and whatnot. The leader of the Sand People wears this big old coat and a giant staff. He walks right up to Boba Fett, turns back with him, sees how happy everyone is, all the Sand People, and then he gives him the onion filled with water that he drinks from, that the leader, the king of the Sand People, at least he looks like a king to me, he gives that to him, and that's a sign of respect that you saved one of my people today. You are now one of us, essentially. And I assume that's how we're gonna go down the line of Boba looking like a sand person in the beginning of Mando Season 2. It's not all flashback stuff. In the middle of the episode, we do get Boba getting out of the healing chamber, and he's like taking these offerings from other people in the town of Tatooine, that immediate town where Jabba's palace is. It's a really entertaining scene, but I just didn't feel really compelled to talk about it for 5 or so minutes, because what really blew me away was the storytelling in these flashbacks. And I cannot wait to see more in the next 6 episodes, because there's only 7 in this season, so we don't even know if there's gonna be another season, so this could be the whole series. Anyways, I am beyond hyped to see the rest of this show. The flashbacks, the storytelling in there, the lore that they're adding onto the Return of the Jedi, and having that bridge between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. I love the biblical feel of the Book of Boba Fett. That's why it's called the Book of Boba Fett. There's a story to be told, and they're telling you in this first episode, this is the story, and it's freaking juicy. Also, music is once again composed by Ludwig Göransson. He did the score for the Mando series. Fantastic score. It sounds different than Mando. It sounds different than traditional Star Wars, but it's still in the vein of A Galaxy Far, Far Away. It just feels epic, and it fits the character of Boba Fett, and it fits the story that they're telling in this series. So guys, those are my thoughts on the Book of Boba Fett. I really don't want to go on any longer because I want to make these a little shorter. So let me know down below what you think of this episode. Have you gotten a chance to check it out yet? If you didn't, well, I just spoiled the hell out of that for you. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, guys, and be sure to stick around for the next 6 weeks where I will be covering every other episode of the Book of Boba Fett, and I might be gushing over a little bit more, because if it's anything like this episode, if the consistency of the rest of the show is just like this episode, I'm gonna be a happy camper. Stick around to the rest of the week, guys. I still have a few videos I want to pump out until the end of the year. We do have a best and worst movies, TV, and video games of 2021. I'm just gonna combine the 3 because I don't have enough to talk about each individually. And then the 1st of January, we got the most anticipated movies, TV, and video games of 2022. So there's a lot of fun and exciting content coming to the channel, and as I always say, there is more to come.